Hello, everyone, and welcome to Justin and the Food Entrepreneurs Podcast. I'm Justin Bizzarro, your host, and today I have with me my significant other and business partner, Deborah Michas.
Hello.
And today we'll be interviewing Pride Road. Pride Road, can you guys introduce yourselves?
Yes, Yasin A. Muhaimin, one of the owners of Pride Road LLC.
I'm Yasin I. Muhaimin. I'm also an owner of Pride Road.
And I'm Najib A. Muhaimin, also owner of Pride Road LLC.
Welcome, you guys. Maybe you could start out and give us an update and let us know about the different products you guys offer.
Yeah, well, like we said earlier, all of the products are hibiscus-based products. And which includes jelly, chutney, sparkling soda, a hibiscus tea blend, a cold tea, a dry tea, and we're considering other products like this is there's some research and development into other products that we're developing.
Can you tell the audience where they can find you guys on social media and online so they can look at your products?
Yeah, they can definitely find us at www.prideroad.com or hit us up as far as email, as far as info@prideroad.com. As far as just taking orders online and whatnot. And we're currently at a few locations. I don't know if you want to let's go deep into that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we're at a few of the fresh markets within the Atlanta circle in the perimeter. We also are working with Truly Living Well. We have some of our products with that location there. Farmview is out in Monroe, and Cali Row Creamery in Sandy Springs, and the last one was Eden Farms as well.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And so how did you guys get into Hibiscus? I can never say it right. How did you get into it, and where did the roots come from of your company name?
Well, the roots come from the location of our farm in Louisiana. We were on Port Hudson Pride Road. This was post-Katrina. And working the farm through the Ag Center at Southern University, we learned about hibiscus down the river, and we started diversifying the products that we were selling in direct market at the farm.
This is well before we even came up with the concept of starting prideroad.com.
Yeah.
So prideroad.com. Prior to Pride Road, my father and mother actually post-Katrina, opened up a small farm in Louisiana. The farm was primarily for chickens. It was a organic chicken farm, but they also sold vegetables and herbs and so forth. And that's where my dad pretty much got into hibiscus. So what happened was my brother and I visited the farm one day just to see our parents, sample some of the products that my parents were making from the hibiscus, thought it was good enough to sell on the public market. And that's where the idea came about, us starting our own business. The first product, the tea is usually associated with hibiscus, but like we just said, we've got a litany of different products that we make. But the tea that my mother made was so good, my brother and I said, hey, we should bottle this and sell this stuff. And hence that's how the business started. So the name of the company is named after the road that my parents stayed on in Zachary, Louisiana. They actually stayed on Port Hudson Pride Road. So we named the company after Pride Road because we liked the idea of the lineage of Louisiana. That was a very a great time in our life, an emotional time in our life after Hurricane Katrina as well. That was pretty much a place of sanctuary because my father was the first person to purchase a house after Katrina, where most of our houses, all of our houses, in fact, were 5 feet underwater. So we all came to that, we all gathered in that place while we got ourselves got ourselves back on our feet. So the company is named Port Hudson Pride. So there's a lot of pride involved in our product as well.
So tell us a little bit about how you got into farming in Georgia then and moved from Louisiana to Georgia to do that, and how many acres you have there in Georgia and what the future is for your farming.
Okay, so my brother and I, Yasin I and Najib A, we actually left Louisiana. We're both members of the Louisiana National Guard. Now we're currently members of the Georgia National Guard. So we were activated during Katrina to do relief operations. Shortly after that, we decided to relocate, and it was just easier because we were staying. The house was underwater, so we needed to start all over again. Anyway, my sister had previously moved to Atlanta, maybe about 2 or 3 months before Katrina. So it was just an opportunity to have a fresh start. So we moved to Louisiana. I want to say in 2006.
Georgia.
I'm sorry, we moved to Georgia in 2006. My father was still in Zachary. We went back to visit Louisiana in 2004, and that's pretty much where the idea. 2014. That's when the idea of Pride Road started. So my brother and I took that idea back to Georgia and started the process.
So and when he was saying supposed to visit with the 14, one of the things that my dad still put into our psyche and continue to say is, like, as far as the product, it's one thing to say, hey, this tea tastes good, let's just go buy some hibiscus and produce this tea. But one of the main components is we grow the hibiscus, and we grow the base of the tea, and it's nothing better than that connection to seeing where your product, the thing that you're tasting, the stuff that you're drinking and eating is coming from. So we started off in Vidalia, Georgia, home of as far as growing this hibiscus. Vidalia, and we did some in Hinesville, Georgia as well. Riceboro. So that's right outside of Fort Stewart. And my brother and I, I said once before, my dad was reintroduced to farming, so he's been farming all his life. Went to the city and went back to farming. My brother and I, we just started farming. We just started farming. So never touched the farming, and I mean, outside of just planting rubbish in the front yard, that was it. So
before we went to the farm, we just Googled farming, read about it on Wikipedia, and just jumped
started doing it. Yeah, but I definitely wouldn't. I wouldn't advise doing it that method. Of course, that's one of the reasons why we had to beg, borrow, and steal our parents back from Dubai at the time to help us along with the farming aspect of farming a product.
Now, so are all three of you guys partners then, or is it more than just the three of you?
Yeah. So initially it was myself and my brother. My dad came along. We made him an equal partner as well. And we actually, my mother is so crucial in the business. We gave her a percentage. And we got a call from my brother. Actually, Najib's wife is also, we actually gave her, she owns stock in the business as well. So who else is there? My brother in California, the dentist, he said, don't leave me out of this. So he called us and we gave him. So it's 100% family owned, right? So it's myself, my father, my brother Najib, his wife, my mother, and his wife, and my older brother Daoud in California.
So how do you deal with disagreements amongst the company then, with all of you being owners?
We don't have disagreements.
I told mine was going to be, and that's how we do it.
That's how we do it. That's what everybody says. We just, hey, this is what's going to happen, and it happens.
Yeah, if not, I'm gonna tell you mine.
Yeah.
we're pretty in sync. The thing about it is this is not our first run at a business. This is the most successful by far. But prior to this, my dad actually owned a successful local favorite peanut company in New Orleans. The company was actually called Fresh General Peanut Company. We sold peanuts in Saints games, Jazz Fest, Mardi Gras parades, everything. If you Google it, you may be able to find something on on the peanut company. So yeah, so we took the lessons, the successes and the failures of that peanut company, and kind of incorporated that into this business. My brother in California, he also owns an extremely successful dental practice. So we lean towards him for administrative help and just general information on how to run a business. Unfortunately, until we take this thing off, we still have to work 9 to 5 jobs. My brother, he's actually full time with the guard still. He's a technician. Who are you? What do you do?
With the state of Georgia itself.
You're with the G3, right?
Yeah.
Now, he's an operations officer for the state of Georgia. He's a major. I'm also a major myself. I'm a traditional reservist, so I work with the emergency preparedness office on my weekend drills. And full time, I'm a construction manager. His wife Millie,
Full time as well with the American Cancer Society.
Yeah, she's operations at the American Cancer Society.
And
my parents,
I'm saying
they've got the best job of all. He'll tell you about it.
yeah, we're full time with Pride Road LLC. Yeah.
So, you had mentioned that you did some farming. How many acres do you have now, and how many acres are you guys trying to grow to?
We worked two plots for a total of about 8 acres.
And now we're in the process of putting in our transplants to form on 30 acres for this coming season.
So with hibiscus, does it come up once a year, or can you plant more than once a year?
No, we only plant once a year.
The real hibiscus, the fresh stuff, is once a year. It's seasonal thing.
Yes, we have a small window. It's not frost tolerant at all. So once the danger of frost is over, we have to be ready to place the transplant. That's what Najee was talking about earlier. So we're going to start them in a hoop house or greenhouse, but they have to have direct sun. So as soon as the danger of frost is over, we can get them in. And if we get 6 months, we'll do great.
Is that a native plant to the southeast United States?
No, it's not. But it is grown at this latitude around the planet. But it's very popular. It's known by different names in different parts. It's known by Kirkcaldy in Egypt. It's Jamaica in Mexico. It's called sorrel in the Caribbean. It's BSAP in West Africa. But even it grows in Australia. It's called Roselle. It's called Roselle here. ROSELLE. Yeah.
And so
the name is Hibiscus salivifera.
And did you bring it in when you originally started growing it in Louisiana?
I brought the seeds in my pocket.
Oh, that's it. Okay. So that's what I was wondering. Well, because often a business is started off in those ways in farming and just bringing it in and giving it a shot. So that's quite a story in.
Exactly. And we were very concerned about that because I didn't know. I knew what region we were in, what frost region we were in, but I just didn't know how it would perform. Because we don't get low temperatures like this in South Louisiana where we're from. And we get low temperatures, but they don't last that long.
Does hibiscus have any medicinal properties?
And what's that?
Medicinal.
Oh, yes, indeed. It's said to be good for hypertension. It's a diuretic. The tea is really, really good. We always cite this this show was a Dr. Oz. He promotes it real good for healing your kidneys.
Oh, that's interesting. So the teas and everything, and the teas and the kombucha and all that, they'll also have not just their natural and being natural medical benefits, but they'll also have benefits for the kidneys and other things like that for medical purposes.
Exactly. Antioxidants, yeah, it's just it is, and it's not this. You can actually make what we call it supplement with we've experimented with that also, with freeze dry and put in the capsules.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea, actually, especially with the health world going the way it is. Plus, people are more, they're working out more and more and finding gyms and different ways to stay in shape and looking for supplements to help with various things. And medicine even is steering away from Western medicine a little bit and going more Eastern, and things like hibiscus will certainly fall into that category.
Yeah.
I'll be interested to hear down the road if you guys explore that and what opportunities you have.
How much of the plant can actually be used in your tea? Is it just the flower, or is it all the plant?
I was just getting ready to say that we kind of focus on the flower. It's called a calyx, CALYX, but we can exploit the entire plant, and we do.
And so you guys said you were learning to farm it on the fly. Is the farming done with equipment? Is it better if it's hand picked? I mean, how does that work? Because I know on smaller farms and more delicate plants, is it a delicate plant, or is it something you guys can plant obviously with machinery? But is it something that has to be hand picked? Is it a delicate plant?
I would say all the above. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. We use, you have to use the implements to prepare your seed beds, your soil, and then you can plug the transplant. We like to start transplants and have them grow up to about less than a foot before we put them out. And so we just poke a hole in the ground and drop it in. It's just like okra. It's labor intensive, and it has to be harvested by hand. It's called picking.
So yeah, we physically touch every calyx that's out there.
Now, we not only touch every calyx to take it off of the stem, but we core each one of them. There's a large seed inside of the calyx that has to be removed prior to us processing the calyx. So we're picking it from the tree, plus removing each one of the seeds out of each calyx. So it's a very labor-intensive process.
And those seeds are what you plant to restart the process?
Yes, definitely.
That's awesome. So it's all reusable, basically, and usable in some fashion, not as much waste. And you had mentioned before we were talking that you were planning on growing into 30 acres. When's all of that taking place?
This coming season. In
2 weeks.
In about 2 weeks, the seedlings we'll start putting the seedlings into the greenhouse, what we call a hoop house, and it takes about 6 weeks for plants to start coming up. We expect the danger of frost to be over about mid-March.
And that's the main reason we put them in the hoop house, is to get ahead of the season.
Yeah.
So we can, so we're already 30 to 45 days ahead of the season. Until the frost is done, we take the seedlings out of the hoop house and transplant them into the ground.
So considering the plant takes 6 months to grow, do you guys plant something else for the other remainder of the year? And also using your greenhouses, do you use it for other purposes?
Not really. No, we don't. We thinking about doing some things like the chutney. The chutney requires some other ingredients like jalapeno peppers, and maybe some. We'll probably do some ginger, which is something that Elaine and I have done before. Onion is a part of one of our recipes, but Georgia is the home of the Vidalia onion, so we won't have to do that. We can just we can source it organic and clean sources of onions, so we don't have to worry about that. But we are considering doing some peppers.
So all the hibiscus in your products, you grow all of that?
That's correct.
Yes. And that was one of the things I think we asked if we're looking to grow anything else. One of the biggest challenges we found was where to find the business. We do that. Everything else we could find locally.
We can source everything else. Yeah.
This is the hardest thing.
So do you freeze dry your plants for the rest of the season to keep producing, or do you do all of your tea production at one part of the year? How does that work?
Yeah, so it's 3 phases, and my dad loves that, so I jumped in. This is my chief. As far as 3 phases of stable state that we do.
Types.
3 types. I'm sorry, not stages. 3 types of stable state. One is the dehydration for shelf life on there. The second one is the freeze or freeze dry, and the third one is the actual juice, getting the product to the juice.
That requires refrigeration.
Requires refrigeration. Requires freezing and whatnot as well.
Our favorite to go to would be the standard dehydrating of the calyx, and that will be we actually have on our premises a 10 by 10 dehydrator. So it basically works by pumping heat and dehumidifying the air. We just take all the moisture out of the plant. We dry it. Yeah, we dry it, and then we put it into it's put into a stable state where it doesn't need refrigeration.
But that's not limited to just the calyx. We include the leaves also, because the leaves are part of the recipes that we use for the tea blend.
And so do you bag all the teas and bottle all the drinks yourself on your location?
Yes, sir. That's what we do.
All inclusive.
That's what we do. It's totally integrated. The concept is from seed to market.
And so I think that's hugely important, is that you control your whole process. You control the quality of your product going out to market, and you control the way people perceive your brand by doing that.
Yes.
And so when you were doing all this, and you've decided to bring all of that in-house, I should say, or do it all yourself, did you consciously know that that's what you wanted to do and discuss it? And is it something you guys have always wanted to do?
Yeah, the answer is yes. And it just didn't. That's the business plan. And we did something else. We were farming chickens and we were farming other things, and we ended up. This is progress. So
and I think that I can't recall if we mentioned this before, as my dad dealing with the peanuts. That was one of those items that we channeled back from past experiences, and what it was we had a facility where the processing was done on site, but as far as the feedstock, the actual product itself, we required someone else's product, their shipping, if they were growing and whatnot to deliver. Yeah, peanuts come from Virginia. They were processed in Louisiana and whatnot, and we want to move away from that. Not just going after the local farming, the local, grown local, grow local, or Georgia grown aspect, but we're just looking at just not being dependent on anyone outside of ourselves.
Yeah, I want to talk about that a little bit, just as a note for the audience, is I don't think people outside the food world or outside owning their own food businesses or farms understand the footprint that food takes. I mean, things travel all over the country to end up in Georgia. Since we're talking about Georgia, chicken, for example, travels all over the country before it ends up back in Georgia to be consumed. And it's a very inefficient model. So the fact that you guys are doing it and keeping it all in-house, where it's not only locally sourced, but it's locally processed. A lot of things that we consider to be locally sourced ends up going somewhere else and then coming back, and then we're considering it locally sourced, even though that footprint of logistics and processing is quite enormous. For example, if it were a Vidalia onion, and went to North Carolina to be processed and then brought back to Georgia, it's still considered locally sourced. It's just takes a huge footprint. So I think there's an education there. And what you guys are doing to not have that footprint is huge. I really admire the model that you guys are doing, and the audacity and perseverance and fortitude to just do it yourselves and take a chance and control your product.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about how you promote your product and what the things you do to go out and build your brand. Is it markets? Is it contests? How do you go about that?
The answer is always all the above. Yeah, we were just having a discussion before we started here about continuing the sampling that we do in these stores, the fresh market stores. We actually go to the fresh market stores and sample, give samples of our product and to the customers that are coming in.
Flavor of Georgia.
The contest is a big thing. Yeah, last year our jelly was a finalist in the Flavor of Georgia. This is a statewide food product contest that literally hundreds of vendors enter.
Yeah, I remember meeting you guys there, and one of the great things about we've talked about it on this some previous episodes, is how it brings all of the people of Georgia together that are food entrepreneurs and puts them into a contest and as categories. Are you planning on entering any items again this year? I know you have more beyond the jelly. I definitely enjoyed your jelly for sure.
We're going to go into 2 categories.
We plan on winning. We're going to go there. We're going to win every category.
We're going into a beverage category, and we're also going back into a jam jelly. We're going to win with the chutney this year.
This year we actually entered the Hibiscus soda this year in the soda, I guess the juice. Soda.
No, just a sparkling soda.
Sparkling soda competition, and we've entered our chutney. Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna take on the plate this year. We're feeling really optimistic about it. I think we got a great chance this year.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. Yeah.
Unless they do like they did the Saints.
That's true.
No answer for that. No problem. Keep going.
So you mentioned fresh markets. Who does all the sampling? Is that something you guys do yourselves, and do you go around to all the different stores?
Yeah. We just consult with the managers, and we bring our own display table and sampling tools, and they give us a spot and a time, and we can work. And they encourage it, they welcome it, and we get a lot of support for doing that kind of thing. But then that's something that we've done. It's been successful. I mean, we actually see the product selling as we're doing the sample.
The farmers markets too, with the
we do the farmers market. Well, Jimmy Carter, the farmers market. Mm-hmm. And last year we were working with Truly Living Well, and we were at the Pond City Market. There's the farmers market that they operate seasonally, mm-hmm. And we were into that one also. We were out in Monroe. We've been there at least 3 times already at the Farm View at the beginning and ending of their market, and we do sampling there also. Mm-hmm. And there are 3 products being sold at the Farm View market, and we sample all those products, and that's really a good way to interact with the consumers of our product and introduce our product to the consumers. And we get a lot of good feedback.
Yeah, I think
good idea.
One thing that you said, this is Najib again, as far as like taking on that role of doing all these things, and what my dad was just talking about, how people talk to you while you're doing the samplings, and they assume this is your product, but it's another thing when you tell them, not only this is our product, but we're the farmers too. We got this product off the field and processed it, put in this bottle so you can enjoy it that much. So it's something that they love hearing as well.
And just the idea that this product is not, it's grown in Georgia, it's just amazing. Mm-hmm. Because I can guarantee you the average hibiscus you probably buy most likely comes from China or Mexico in most cases.
Yeah.
I put money on that.
And it would be months old.
Yes, that's another thing.
Yeah, we're talking fresh.
Yeah, I think that's important. Is one of the things we've begun to talk about on this podcast is fresh product, and consumers don't realize the impact they can have by just buying local products. The footprint, the environment, you name it, whatever your passion is. There's a lot of good things that come out of fresh products that are sourced locally, especially farm products, and products that are produced from those farm products. The nutritional values, the quality of the food, the way it's produced and picked, the passion that goes into it, the economies that are supported locally versus somewhere else in the country or the world. I think it's all important. And I know your product, being locally farmed in Georgia, and Georgians out there, I really want you guys to know it's a very great product. It has a lot of medicinal benefits, and for me, I enjoy it. I'm going to be grabbing as much as I can from Farmview Market when I'm there next, because we stop there actually every time we're in Georgia. And
good.
And I want to give a shout out to Farmview Market, because I think what they're doing while we're on here is amazing. They're supporting the local economy there. They're supporting local farmers and local food entrepreneurs by putting up a market there in Monroe, Georgia. So I think they do a great job. They've had a representative at the Flavor of Georgia contest every year I've been there, and I think the University of Georgia does very well with that. I loved your guys' booth and the way you had everything set up. Who amongst you is the creative one that does all the labels and all the booth work and stuff like that?
So
Not among us.
but it's still family. So we have
I have a niece.
and our cousin, my cousin.
Yeah, her name is
Lizetta Bryant out in Houston, Texas.
She's a graphic artist.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that we gave her a stamp of the sign and just asked her to use her creative mind, and that's what she came back with as far as the designs with the around the labels and just helping us out there. We again, that's the only thing outside. We actually use Bennett Graphics as far as our producing the labels as well as the prints, and of course they're here in Georgia, down in Tucker, Georgia, as far as working with printing and graphics. And I know you were asking about the labels and whatnot, but I definitely you brought something to our attention as far as University of Georgia. That was another item as far as assisting with the push on some of our products. And my brother and I started off down in Food Pick, Dr. Kelly and their staff down there in Griffin, Georgia, and they were definitely instrumental with helping us out, introduced us to different avenues as far as further studies of the hibiscus, and just still working with us as far as just identifying, hey, these are some routes and avenues that you probably want to look into.
In fact, they were the ones who recommended that we enter the Flavor of Georgia competition
right.
in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
So the program is a wonderful program they have.
And you said that was Dr. Keeley at the University of Georgia's Product Innovation and Commercialization Center, correct?
Yes.
It's called a Food Pick.
Yes.
Yeah, the Food Pick Center. Yeah, we're familiar with them as well. I think that what University of Georgia is doing there as well is an amazing program and a way to help food entrepreneurs. And I don't know of any other states that do that. So, I mean, that's a major leg up in terms of getting Georgia-grown businesses or food businesses in particular a leg up.
Really great facility and resources, and the knowledge of all of them is amazing.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
And if you ever visit the food pit, you see our products
On the shelf.
probably displayed on the shelf, the ones that we developed and produced there.
And so on that note, I also want to talk about, I know you guys, you had mentioned the military background. How has that prepared you for what you're dealing with now, and what were some of the experiences you had in the military that have helped you now as entrepreneurs?
So this is Najib. I can start off with myself as far as really dedication. It's not an easy task to be dedicated. My brother and I, I'm approaching 20 years. My brother has already surpassed 20 years. My dad served for the Vietnam War, and just raising your hand and dedicating a part of your life to something like that, it definitely sets you up to focus and be dedicated to whatever you set in front of yourself as far as whatever comes your way. Operational wise, as far as some of the jobs and different tasks I've been assigned to, I can't get any better experience as far as operational with how you should do certain processes, setting up documentation, processing, and moving through on a direction as far as accomplishing the task that you set up in front of you. Yeah,
I would probably say problem solving. This is Yassin I. Everything we set up, we embarked on this mission with very little understanding of how to accomplish this. And every task, every issue, every obstacle that we came across, we looked at it, we assessed it, and we figured out a way to get over it. But we already knew that we would accomplish it, that we would beat it when we came across it. And that's just something I got from the Army. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, we've got to succeed. We have no choice but to succeed. We have no choice but to complete the mission. And that's pretty much our mindset throughout the entire thing.
Well, thank you guys very much for your service.
We had someone from the Air Force, yeah.
I don't know what these other guys, but and that's basically, I mean, from my perspective, this is, not just being a spectator, just watching all of this go by in terms of the economics. You're talking production, distribution, and that kind of thing. Participate, and that's how I feel. I feel like we're participating in the in the prosperity of what's happening now. We're part of what's happening here in this economy. A small part, but we are all part of it.
No, I appreciate your service. I think it's amazing, and I think the lessons learned, I can't even imagine. So again, thank you. On another note, how do you see the future of your business, and what are your goals, and are you planning on growing outside of Georgia?
Yes.
Yeah. So Jerry and
So sky's the limit. I mean, we've got our eyes set on national, if not global, distribution of the product. But the biggest thing that we want to do is we want to make sure we give back. We want to help. We want to help people. We want to, of course, we got to help ourselves in the beginning. We got to make sure we're on stable ground. But we want to try to give back as much as possible. But we do see ourselves growing outside of Georgia. We see ourselves distributing our product all over the world, all over America, and all over the world at the exact same time. But right now, we're going to go ahead and conquer the greater Atlanta area and then just move out from there.
One of the things that happened, we were telling you about our history, particularly with the peanut company. One of the good things that happened, well, we were able to employ a number of young people dealing with the peanut, not as vendors, as processors, because all that stuff had to be packaged, and that's what we see. we envision providing some employment to and our target will be young people. And we also want to try to, support and nurture entrepreneurs.
Yeah, I think that's hugely important, and it's something we talk about on this show a little bit, is one, giving back and being mentors to the communities that we work in, because a lot of people just see people as employees. They don't see it as opportunities to help people, so I'm glad you said that for sure. And then the other part I think is important is that you had the entrepreneurial experience in the peanuts, and now it's been passed on to your kids. And I think what we're starting to see on this show is a lot of the entrepreneurial mindset is actually starts in the family and goes generations up. And it's not, there's people that do start on their own, don't get me wrong, but we're seeing a lot of families that have started it. So I will ask you guys, what did you learn then that you're applying now to the business as the sons of your dad?
I guess
He's probably giving you the evil eye right now. Like, wait, you didn't learn anything?
No, we're not. This dedication and love for your craft. You have to love what you're doing. You have to love your product. We fell in love with our product. We think we have a great product that people like. But just, I guess, dedication. Just every day, that our mindset was every day we're going to do something to improve upon this business. We will not let a day go by without adding something to the business. And we definitely got that from my dad. My dad's been an entrepreneur his entire life, and he's instilled that into us. Some people just have it, some people don't have it. And I tell you, it's so many opportunities. But I mean, my dad wanted us to be computer programmers before people were even buying computers. But it's just definitely dedication.
Look up Rocket's boots. He definitely one thing, and to add to that, with my brother, this is Najib, it's a confidence, and knowing you have an item or a product, or just being confident in yourself when you're presenting your item or product, and we stand behind what we're producing, and it makes it a lot easier for us to be confident about selling what we're selling, because we know where it comes from, we know the packaging, how it looks, and we know how it tastes, and we know how we were raised as far as being, standing in front of your product and being confident about what you're producing. And that's not just with business, that's just with life, period.
There's I don't know what to call it, a concept or what, but there's something that I kind of consider all the time when I'm engaged in products and in projects, and I know it came from my tour in the Air Force, but it's to have a sustained focus. I was try to figure out how to explain how to get through from point A to point B, because there's so many things that can distract you. But if you have that sustained focus, you can do other things, but on the main thing that you are trying to accomplish, you have to have a sustained focus and make it happen. And that's where we are with this. And we've been doing it for a few years now, and we're in. If anybody wants to know anything about Hibiscus, they can come to us, and we know.
Do you guys sell your product wholesale as well, or do you only sell it in your products?
Yes, we do. Mm-hmm. Yes.
And so anyone who wanted Hibiscus, they could come to Pride Road and get it from you guys.
Yeah, but we're primarily a wholesaler, though. That's what we do at the Pride Road location.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know, because I'm sure there's a lot of other people out there that know the benefits of the product as well. But another quick question. So if you guys were in the Army but your dad was in the Air Force, how come you didn't go Air Force?
Actually, I did go Air Force.
Yes, Yasin did basic training in the Air Force.
I did basic training in the Air Force, high school in the Air Force, and I actually went Army. I did Army OCS many years ago.
Yeah, I needed a real challenge. That's why I went straight Army.
G went straight Army. So I actually left the Air Force to commission as an officer in the Army.
Oh wow! I didn't even know you could do that. That's I learned something new every day. So, what were your rankings? What are your rankings now? And I mean, how has that changed your life? And why move to the Army? Was there more opportunity there, or you wanted more experience?
There was just more opportunity in the Army. I wanted to commission. I use the term commission referring to I wanted to become an officer in the Army. They had an opportunity for me to go to officer candidate school, and I took that opportunity. So I was actually an enlisted soldier in the Air Force. I was an E3 at the time, which is a airman first class. I had already finished my bachelor's degree, and which is a requirement for commissioning. I went to the Army. Army sent me through rigorous officer candidate school, and you come out as a commissioned officer. So I'm currently right now. I'm a major. I'm a major in the Army, and I'm actually looking to get promoted to lieutenant colonel within 40 years out.
This is Najib. I actually same thing. Started off enlisted in the Army in Louisiana, and went to officer candidate school in the state of Georgia as far as getting my commission. And I'm currently a major in the Georgia Army National Guard.
So we're both majors. I'm usually one step ahead of him. So since he caught up with me, I need to hurry up and get promoted.
I know. I was going to say, what's that competitive nature amongst brothers like in that?
Yeah. I just did one tour in the Air Force during the Vietnam War, and as an enlisted sergeant, but I earned the title of Duke of World. Or the rank.
Something coming.
And I think it's great to see veterans start businesses for sure, because it's something that we in the United States we try to promote, but I don't think enough veterans take advantage of the opportunities for being an entrepreneur. So I give you guys props for that for sure, and
thank you.
It's really awesome that you guys are doing it, and I like the competition amongst you, even though you're all in the family together and in the family business. It's probably good to have something outside of the business to be competitive on, I'm sure.
It's fun.
Yeah.
So a couple last questions, and then we'll start to bring it to an end. But what are some of the hardships you guys have had? I know you went to the PIC Center, so I'm sure that helped get through some of the hardships. But tell us a little bit about that and the things that you've experienced as entrepreneurs that have been difficult in your life, and how does those difficulties reflect in your personal lives?
Chopping at the bits.
I was going to say not winning at the Flavor Georgia the first year. That's the one. Thought we had it in the bag.
But business-wise, and I'm pretty sure my dad feels the same. Access to capital is one of the main things. I've done. My wife and I, Mrs. Najib, we've had real estate all throughout the Atlanta area, and one of the things that we faced was, we definitely felt as if we did okay for real estate, but we could have done a lot better if we had the means as far as more capital, more finances to get us to what we think would have been best.
Dreams are free. It's easy to dream about having a beautiful Hibiscus, based company with a wonderful building and so forth. But at the end of the day, capital is definitely needed. It's not as easy as just coming up with a great idea and so forth. So we were fortunate. Najib was helped out tremendously with the building, and my brother in California with the dental practice here, he actually helped us out as well. So we were fortunate in that aspect.
Yeah, and even with it, I was explaining to someone earlier about that in terms of capital. With farming, you need equipment. You need farm implements, and all of the even the government programs that are set up to support farmers don't do that. You can get a well dug, a fence built, but you can't get any equipment.
So have you guys
we have to.
provided all of your own capital, or have you gotten outside investors as well?
No, but we had provided all ourselves.
Yeah, all capital
We did it
internal.
Internal to the family.
We even and the thing I'd definitely be remiss if we didn't touch on the farm on Wilkinson Mill is where we're growing that 30+ acres, and that's again internal. You working with it's together to go after a like goal. So yes, everything was internal as far as the capital, and we're still like that. Yeah.
Not a dime. We don't owe a dime to the bank.
And so you guys have done this all. So you guys have done it all debt free.
Yes,
But as far as the
business.
as far as the business is concerned,
I need money.
my life is a wreck.
So on that note, how has running the business affected your personal lives? Has it affected time with your wives and your families, or is it because you guys are all together and all involved in the business? Do you get to spend more time together?
It's family. And that's a good thing about
It
it.
brought us closer.
Yeah.
It made mandatory family time.
Yeah.
You come here. You come here a couple of weeks ago. Every Saturday or Sunday, you'll find at least 4 or 5 members of the family up in here sweeping the floor, putting up drywall, doing something every weekend, almost every day.
Yeah.
Almost every day. I mean, I spend more time with my dad than I would like to nowadays. I can't ditch him every time I come in.
Yeah. My wife complains a lot though because we probably like I said we full time, and these guys come through, do their jobs that they have to do here, but they do the
fun work,
the technical stuff.
Fun.
Yeah. But they don't do that grunt work. Who left this? That's my wife's famous words.
Yeah. Next question.
This year, that kind of. But we keep it together. And this is really good. I'm glad we had this talk because we don't have any breakdowns. We really it's a good thing.
Yeah, I think families that don't work together in the business world or as entrepreneurs, it's a very different experience, and your relationships become very work oriented a lot. But you have a lot to talk about for sure. There's a common goal as a family that as a family you're, for lack of a better term, stuck with each other anyway. So why not make a go out of it financially? And I know in my own case, I work with my family members, and Deborah has grown up working with her family members, and it's how she became an entrepreneur and I became an entrepreneur. And so I think I want to make a point of that, really what it does to a family and how it bonds you is pretty amazing. And anyone who's in the entrepreneur world, start with your kids now and getting them involved in your businesses. I think this is a story of how you guys started in peanuts and then ended up back in doing business yourselves again. And while it isn't a full-time job yet, I have a good feeling that as you guys grow in your dedication, it will be. So are you planning on expanding your production of Hibiscus products with the growth of the field and going to those 30 acres? And if so, what products are you guys looking to push in case there's people out there listening in the market world or in the convenience store world or the supermarket world that may be interested in your products?
Can we answer that just in case someone else tries to say something about products? Or?
I think the biggest thing the biggest thing right now, since we'll have so much product nowadays, we definitely want to capture that market of fresh hibiscus. Right now, there's a couple people selling some hibiscus. I wouldn't necessarily call it fresh hibiscus, but there's hibiscus in Kroger's and so forth. So we want to put our local fresh hibiscus in these stores so people can buy them. I get calls daily about people wanting to buy fresh hibiscus from us right now. So it's definitely going to be on our agenda that we're probably going to put in the store sooner than later.
Yeah. And we're talking about putting different aspects of hibiscus in other products. We're talking about hibiscus inside of cream honey.
Yeah.
Hibiscus, that kind of thing. We're also talking about candied hibiscus. You familiar with fruit roll-ups?
Yes.
You do that with hibiscus. We're talking that there are some varieties that we have now that we can actually pickle, and so forth and so on.
You can if you are you planning on being at the Flavor of Georgia?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure. Hopefully, we push our product through. By the time they taste that, we should be a finalist. We'll make sure we bring some pickled hibiscus to you so you can try that.
Yeah, I'd love to try it, and I want to make sure I promote the products that you guys do have online that people can get now, as well as the wholesale, as I do the episode notes for sure, because I do think you guys have a great product. And while I know of a hibiscus, I don't know of many people that are as innovative as you guys are. And I just want to say, just as my notes on the episode, I think you guys have quite a story being a family, and the story of how you got as a family from the peanuts to the farm in Louisiana to back to Atlanta, and being of military background as well, and having different family members involved. I think there's a huge story there for you guys as something that you should make sure you bring forward, because while there may be other people that try to get into it, they don't have your story and they aren't you guys. And it's one of the reasons we asked you guys to be on this episode, is because we saw something in you guys that we haven't seen in other people. And that's your story, and that's your work ethic, and that's your hardworking attitude, as well as your drive to do it all yourself. If you pick it and get it all the way to the end product yourselves, there's not many people out there that are willing to do that or take the risk to do it and put in the time and effort to do it. So I just wanted I just wanted to say that's a huge marketing point, and I don't know how to get it across. I don't do very well on the marketing side, but there is someone out there and that could probably help tell that story for you guys, or put together a YouTube clip beyond just this podcast that could really tell your story and get it out there on the internet, I think. So that's something I would definitely look into, and filming the farm and the process, and you together as a family in Georgia and the product. So that's just my feedback from my perspective.
I also think the resilience of, after all of you losing your homes in Katrina, it's just phenomenal what you guys have done since that time and created this business and all these product lines. It's truly impressive.
Thank you.
And so that being said, hopefully we'll see you guys at the Flavor of Georgia, and we'll probably be doing a podcast there as well, and meet you guys again. And I do want to follow up with you guys, because part of what we're doing with this podcast is we're going to try to tell people's story as they go along and grow their businesses. So I'm hoping you guys will be on the show again.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm down.
And we'll do quite a bit of marketing and pushing of your product on the episode notes and stuff like that, because I love your product and I love your guys' story, and there's not many people out there that have your life experiences to get there. So thank you guys very much for being on the show. I really do appreciate it, and thank you for your service. You guys are a great group.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Bye, Deborah. See you in the Flavor of Georgia.
Bye, guys. Thank you very much.